Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rhodey and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day and welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian Fishing Podcast, episode 153. Dizzy, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. It's great to be here. We've got a huge guest, Danny Simpson. He's an absolute guru in the Fishing Sector, just broadly speaking. Done a lot of consultancy work for both South Australian and eastern state governments, a lot of work on RecFish in different iterations, and has been recently reappointed to the RecFish board. So we are very excited to have a chat with him. It's got just about everything you could want in there, from, some exciting announcements, some inside scoop on different things. It's a great chat, isn't it, Rhodey?
Certainly is, Diz. It's one we're looking forward to sharing with you all. Now, Diz, it's our first episode of the year. Happy New Year's, mate. I'm going to crack a Pirate Life crisp lager, the South Coast.
Happy New Year to you too, mate. I hope you had a good one. I'm sure you snuck in a little bit of fishing.
I certainly did. It wasn't what I would call serious fishing, but it was good to take Lou out and get into it. Diz, how was your Christmas and all that?
Yeah, no, we didn't do a lot of serious fishing. No really long sessions out on the boat. We had a great time with the kids and got stuck into a few whitings, so it was good.
All right, Diz, should we run straight into our oranges and lemons?
Yep, let's do it. What do you got?
Dizzy, we got a little quarter first King George whiting. Did it all on her own rod.
She chuffed us about it.
She was pretty happy until it came to the part of she could see the fish.
Then she didn't want to bar
Didn't want to lift it in the boat. Didn't want anything to do with it. I had to hold it for a photo, but she was pretty happy to get it on the little Shimano Raider kids rod and put a bit of bend in the line.
Yeah?
It was only 30 centimetres, just undersized, we'll be honest.
That's close.
But she was pretty happy with herself. She let everyone know she caught two on her rod.
30 centimetre ting still, for someone of Lil's age, it'd pull a bit of string.
Yeah, no, she loved it, mate. She loved it. But, as I say, once she could get sight of the fish and that it all got a bit real, she pretty quickly handed me the rod and said, "You deal with this, Dad."
Yeah,
but good enough to get her a real fish. We've all done that carp that you've sort of caught and given the kid the rod at the last minute for a bit of a photo, but good to get her a real fish, Diz.
Yeah, good call. Well, my orange was some absolute stonkingly large crabs caught in our boat over the Christmas break. We got into some on a couple of different occasions. This one, I think, went about 65 centimetres, claw to claw. 65. Now, we're going to talk about some crabbing in the fishing report, Diz, but in the meantime, between now and then, I'm going to find out what the I've actually just found it. Oh, is it anywhere near it?
The Drossen Hotel. It says Craig's Big Blue measured 690 millimetres. What was yours?
640.
Oh, so you're close, but you wouldn't have won for the month. And okay, so there's been a 644, a 642. The leader this month is 676, which is Michael. So you wouldn't have won, but you would have given
it a nudge.
Top 2 or 3 a nudge, Diz. So you should have taken it down to our Drossen and entered.
Yeah, we certainly should have, and Ned took great pride in holding that thing up. We didn't give it to him while it was alive.
No, that's probably sensible.
We thought there was half a chance one of those claws could have actually taken one of his fingers off. So we left it till it was ready to go in the cooker, and then he was welcome to get his hands on it. Rhodey, what do you got for us in the lemon department?
Dizzy, this is a bit of an embarrassing lemon. Actually, I'm going to be honest here. What was it? Must have been like the 29th or 30th. We went round to Mum and Dad's for dinner. My sister's doing a year in the UK this year, so we had a bit of a last hurrah, last dinner. Mum wanted to do fish. Fishing hasn't been great this year from us or Jack, so there was no whiting in Mum's freezer.
Oh, no.
So she had one of those, those $50 seafood, not seafood, but it's coastal something or other vouchers from the government. I can't remember exactly what they're called.
Yeah.
Promoting going and buying coastal dining and things like that. Anyway, you can use it at the local fish shop.
Oh, no.
So Mum went and bought however many whiting fillets from the fish shop, which is
what a flex.
which is embarrassing.
Oh,
but
that is.
The worst thing was she unpacked these whiting fillets and started. I shared the photo. She did these like duca crusted whiting fillets.
Oh, yeah.
They were pretty good. They were nice. But she started pulling them out of the bag, and I was looking at them. I'm like, Mum, they've still got fins on them. They still had the bloody fins on the side of them. They hadn't had the V cut out to take the pin bones out, and they hadn't had the ribs cut out.
Oh, jeez.
They were only half filleted.
Wow.
I couldn't believe how average they were looking for. Like, they're expensive whiting fillets from a fish shop.
Yeah, and by the time you do that, that's knocking a few grams off a fillet.
Oh, and I didn't bring my filleting knife around to dinner, did I? I was there using bloody Mum's dodgy kitchen knife to try and fillet the rest of these whiting.
Wow. What did the fish shop owner say when Robin walked in? Who are you? I've never been here before.
I don't know what she was thinking. But anyway, that's all the incentive I need to catch more fish in 2026, Diz.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, my lemon has been that no go on the tuna for us over Christmas, Rhodey. We certainly reflect on this time of year a lot about Boxing Days when we've snuck down to Victor Harbour if the weather's played the game and got out and got into some tuna, and Christmas Eve and other bits and pieces where the tuna have come through a bit earlier than usual, but no luck for us this year over the Christmas
Well, there's been
break.
no luck on Yorks or Fleurieu, really, has there? Plenty over on the Eyre Peninsula, but and I did read someone on Facebook saying they got them way off Cape Jarvis, whatever that means. But, that's probably heading past KI or whatever, but there's not a lot of reports from the Fleurieu or the York Peninsula. I know a few people travelled sort of as far as Wedge and hadn't seen them.
There you go.
So, I don't know. I'm sure they're not far away, but they're not here yet, are they?
No. That's we'll keep our ears close to the ground on that, Rhodey. We're going to do a quick New Year's resolution or goal for on the fishing front. So, what do you got for us?
Dizzy, I think we should just aim for the stars, and I think this year is our year to win the Port Lincoln Tuna Comp.
Oh, bang.
New Year's resolution to win. We're not just going to enter, we're going to win.
I dare say there'll be close to 100 grand, if not more than 100 grand on the line for first prize. So that would be pretty juicy if we did.
What about, when there's, what's it called, a Tats Lotto, like a big Tats Lotto, and everyone's talking at work and they say, if you win, are you going to rock up to work on Monday? If you win 100 grand in a fishing comp, are you rocking up to the podcast next week?
No. I'll rock up to the podcast. I dare say I'll rock up to the podcast relatively hungover, though. I reckon if we win the 100 grand, there's going to be a fair bit of that put in the bar. But anyway, my New Year's resolution is going to be I want to get over the meter king.
Yes, good one, Diz. We've tickled around the 80 odd centimetre mark in the 80s.
Yeah, we have. And
we've probably never gone 90, have we?
No, we haven't. And we were lucky enough to get onto some Sambos about a year or so ago and managed to tick one off over the metre mark. So that was happy days, but I'd love to get an over metre king.
Good one, Diz. That's a good goal to set for 2026. And let us know what your goals and New Year's resolutions are out there, guys. Tell us what you're hoping to achieve in 2026.
Good stuff. Rhodey, is there any updates on social media, photo comps, that sort of thing? I know, the social media. I'm sure that Duca crusted whiting fillets did all right.
Yeah, plenty of seafood pictures. We had crayfish on New Year's Eve. We did it all, really did. So plenty of seafood photos getting shared and plenty of kids' photos. And I've still got this one of Ned's crab to put up there as well, Diz. And we do have some big competitions coming, Diz. We've got some prizes to give away, and I've got some good ideas on how we're going to give away these ones. I'm not sure if I've shared them with you, but I'll get them going in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, it doesn't sound like you just making an executive decision without full support of the podcast executive.
Yeah, it's because I send you an email or a text and I hear back in 12 business days.
All right, we'll leave that internal dynamics off the podcast for this episode. Let's get into the news.
Rhodey and Diz have been searching far and wide to bring you the latest news across all fishing in the state, and we'll give you the rundown on what you need to know.
Bit to get through here, Rhodey, so we're going to fling through a couple of these news items. Of course, it's a busy time for rec fishing and everyone's out and about getting amongst it. But let's start with a bit of the Mulloway tagging.
Yeah, so RecFish making a big push to get lots of Mulloway tagging. They want to get more information. So they're pushing for everyone to sign up as a RecFish Citizen Science member, and then through SAFTag to start tagging plenty of juvenile Mulloway throughout Metro Adelaide estuaries, York Peninsula, and right across the state. They want to know more about where these fish go, what they do, migration, stock structure across South Australia and Western Victoria. And they're saying it's a really good time to be doing it with plenty of these sort of smaller juvenile fish across the Gulf of St. Vincent currently. So, Diz, that's a bit of a push from RecFish.
Yeah, nice one, mate. We love all of the work that RecFish get up to, so that's good stuff. Ready? Let's go fishing round 3. Next forum and prizes are up for grabs. That's a really important one to keep a close eye on the socials, because there's always something happening there.
It is, Diz. So round 3 of the Let's Go Fishing competition starts February 1, and there is, in the lead up to that, they are holding a Fishos forum at the Mannum Community Club, 2 p.m. Saturday, the 10th of January. Guest speaker Lucas Weaver, who is an absolute gun freshwater fisho. There's going to be a focus on golden perch. I think Lucas, he's on the board at RecFish, but he was involved in tagging a lot of the tagged fish in the freshwater scene. So, Diz, that would be, we should actually go, because we don't catch many freshwater fish, do we, Diz? We're not that good at it, but we would like to be.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair summary. We could put a bit more time in if we wanted to master the art, so to speak, but it's always good fun when we do.
Certainly is, Diz, and on that, they've also given away another Shimano combo for December worth over $500 as a part of the Let's Go Fishing competition, and Oliver Parham was the lucky winner.
Yeah, love it. Very good. All right, Rhodey, this has been making the news across the social media and some of usual media outlets about the government buying back Mundu Island.
Yeah, Diz, it's going to be incorporated into the Coorong National Park, and the expansion will see the national park increase to more than 50,000 hectares. So that's an interesting one, Diz, and the idea around that is to help protect endangered species, reduce nutrient runoff, and improve environmental resilience across the Murray Mouth. I did read that Mundu Island is decreasing in size over the years, Diz. It's basically going underwater, so it's probably not going to be there forever, and it is becoming more and more of a wetland as time goes on. It's also got significant Indigenous importance, so that's been a part of this whole operation as well, to sort of contain and look after these Aboriginal heritage sites. In the past, it's been used as a cattle station and cropping and things like that. So you can understand that taking that back to be government owned and run will help remove some of that runoff into the ocean through the Murray Mouth. I did read that part of the government's press around this was talking about it being a positive to stop the algal bloom or future algal blooms by reducing the runoff. I did see that claim refuted by some good sources, pretty much saying that that's not going to make a big difference. So you can't really hang your hat on that one.
Yeah, right. Very good. Well, anyway, it's a news story nonetheless for the podcast to cover.
Certainly is, Diz. Let's keep moving though down to Cape Jaffa. We've talked about this a lot.
We have talked about Jaffa a lot. What's the latest?
So the marina is open and it's up and running, and this is a organisation. It's called SECCI. I can't remember what that stands for, Diz. I've got it written here, but I should figure out what that is. But what they're a non-for-profit, community-driven group, and what they're basically saying is boat launching is free at the marina, which is true all across the state at the moment, but they're saying that the funding to keep the marina open is not free. So what they're encouraging people to do is to put some money in and donate some money to their cause to keep the Cape Jaffa marina open. So it's actually Southeast Coastal Care Initiative is what that SECCI stands for, Diz. I've just got the link back, and what they're basically saying is follow this QR code or this link, they're saying there's 100 boats launching in Cape Jaffa in just one day, and if all of those people chipped in a little bit of money to sort of, instead of paying for the boat ramp, pay to basically have the sand cleared at the marina. They're encouraging people to donate. I think the Ampol at Kingston is donating. It says here donate $100 to this SECCI and receive a $100 bait and tackle voucher. So that's pretty good.
That is good.
So that's money for nothing there. So if you are going to donate and help this push to keep the marina open and the sand clear, that's probably the way to do it, Diz.
I think so, mate. That does seem like an absolute no-brainer for mine. So if you're down that way, get around it.
And I suppose, fingers crossed, Dizzy, this is more of a short-term solution, and we can't let the residents fund their own removal of sand forever. Hopefully the government can come up with a better solution longer term, but I do understand what the locals are trying to do and what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, good call, Rody. Good stuff, mate. Now across to a little bit of news about the snapper ban. There's been quite a few charter operators of recent times say that they've just had a really hard time getting away from what they're calling as plague proportions of snapper on whiting grounds and other bits and pieces. Now, it'll be very interesting when we chat to Danny a little bit later on in today's episode, because he does give us a good perspective on this. But it's fair to say that I think this would be very frustrating for some of those charter operators that are trying to get their customers onto a good feed of whiting or other species that they're allowed to catch, and they're just getting smashed by snapper. Yeah,
the interesting thing about this is are they getting smashed by like big snapper, or are they just those small snapper that we've been catching on some of our whiting grounds? I don't know. Like, I sort of get both sides of the story, that people are seeing all these snapper, but at the end of the day, we want them to get as big and strong as we can. So I don't know what can be done there, Diz, but I do get that it could be frustrating if you're trying to run a charter and you're having to move every spot because you can't get away from them.
Yeah, good call. All right, Roddy, let's move on to Tunarama. That's coming up on the 17th of January, and RecFish are going to be running a free fishing competition with heaps of prizes up for grabs. Shimano reel, combos, merchandise and everything, always supported by the greatest in the industry, of course, Shimano's gear. So that'll be a really good one to get down to, or if you happen to be on the Eyre Peninsula, anywhere over there around the 17th of Jan, be sure to drop in.
Yeah, so get into those Spot On Port Lincoln, Tacklewood Port Lincoln from the 15th of January to receive your key tag and rule card. There's prizes for under 16s and adults or over 16s, and also some random prizes for the biggest fish, excluding sharks, rays and shellfish. And fishing is to occur on the Saturday of the Tunarama, the 17th of January. And I think that's a good thing, Diz, because I don't know about you, but people are always like, when I've said I'm going to the Port Lincoln Tuna Comp, everyone's like, oh yeah, Tunarama, yeah, that sounds great. I don't think people realise that it's a different event.
Yeah.
So it's probably good to tie in some sort of an actual fishing component to the Tunarama concept is.
Good call, Rody. Very good. When are the Carp Frenzy dates, mate? How are they looking?
28th of February is the date for 2026. It'll run 6:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. and then the Carp Tossing Championship at 4. I think we should go and do the carp tossing.
Yeah, cool.
I fancy myself as a bit of a carp tosser.
Do you? Do you now?
So I might go
have a hammer thrower from back in the day.
Bit of a crack, Diz. First prize $3,000. I hope that $3,000 is for the carp tossing and not for the fishing competition.
Would you go for the hammer throw style, or would you shot put it?
Oh, I was a good shot putter in my day.
I don't reckon your shoulders could withstand a decent shot put these days.
But I think hammer throw would be a bigger distance, surely.
Oh, you'd think so. But geez, you'd get some crowd applause if you shot put it in the cart, wouldn't you? All right, Rody, we're going to gloss over this one, but we are going to give some highlights because we don't like spending too much time in the bloom and gloom, we're going to call it.
Nice one, Diz.
But what do you got for us on the algal bloom front, Rody?
So this was just
hitting hardest
today, Diz. So friend of the show and ecology guru Faith Coleman has told a state parliamentary joint committee on the harmful algal blooms today on Wednesday. She told that government staff were told not to investigate the cause of the algal bloom until after the March 2026 state election. So effectively, they're brushing it under the carpet till after that. She said, this is a quote, 3 separate staff from 3 separate agencies across 2 ministerial portfolios. have told her that, Diz. So that's a bit of a cover-up, if true. The government have obviously refuted it, but they refute anything like that. So we're not sort of, that doesn't mean one way or the other. But it's a little bit concerning, isn't it, Diz?
Well, look, it is. I think there's a number of things that could be at play there. I'm sure that any of those investigations will take a substantial period of time. I think the important part is that it's bringing awareness around the fact that there does need to be a thorough investigation about how this has happened and any strategies that can be put in place to avoid it happening again. I think it would be fair to say the government has taken some reasonably proactive steps to do that. And I think, when we chat to Danny a bit later on and some of the stuff that RecFish are definitely going to be involved in through 2026, I'm sure there's going to be a fair bit happening. What I'm definitely concerned about, and I'm sure we'll talk about this in a minute, about where it's popping its head up, is that I do worry still that this warm weather that we're getting is going to make things worse.
Yes, Diz, we should move on to that. I don't know, did you see those photos of Pondalawi? They looked absolutely crook over the weekend.
Yeah, it was very concerning seeing that, because I think there was a lot of people thinking that really wide open ocean, which I know that Pondalawi Bay is a bay, but over there, you can get some pretty wild weather, and you'd think that it'd just be passing through there, but
yeah, and I think
it's crazy the amount of foam.
Jim Beach, which is just along there a little bit, had quite a few dead fish, and that is, an open ocean beach, and you'd think that'd be okay. Hopefully it doesn't keep spreading, and as you say, hopefully the warm weather doesn't make it any worse. I think KI has still been a bit crook. There's been whispers out of Whyalla and that sort of region, but maybe nothing confirmed. I know the vet at Ordinga had a lot of crook dogs, which is not what we want to hear. I saw some leather jackets swimming around in circles a bit, swimming around people, didn't look quite right, looked like they were on their last legs. One of the days we were at Carricalinga, we swam quite a few days and were fine, and then that particular day we all got a bit of a cough and a sore throat. And that's the first time I've really had any symptoms at all, but it was definite that we saw these 4 or 5 sick-looking leather jackets. And then that night the kids were coughing. I had a sore throat. It was definitely a thing to some extent. But then the next day it was fine. So it looks like it's going to sort of come and go a bit.
Yeah, interesting. There you go. And I certainly think it's been concerning seeing some of the stuff coming out of Tasmania and WA that are seeing some early signs of some algae outbreaks as well, potentially.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, Diz? We know these algal blooms have happened all over the world and Australia and everywhere, and they just generally don't get to this extent, but fingers crossed these ones aren't going to end up like ours, and I suppose fingers crossed that this warm weather doesn't make too much of a difference on this algal bloom.
Good call. All right, Rody. Well, I've got a little bit of a story, which is, of course, we cover this actually most years about how much the most expensive bluefin tuna goes for in Tokyo.
Oh, all right. What do we got? I actually like hearing these.
$4.73 million.
Is that Australian?
Yes. Yeah, 4.73 million Australian dollars. Now,
and that's Japan, is it?
Yes, it was in Tokyo. I watched the video. I didn't get the weight on the tuna. I'm sorry. I know that would have been a good stat to have. It's certainly looking like a barrel-sized tuna. It's a big one.
Yeah. It's still a lot of money. I don't care how big the tuna was.
A lot of money, and I loved seeing their ceremony.
How good are the swords they use to cut them?
They do use the swords. They all clap, and they all love it when they pull out the first slab and they get to see the meat, and they're all, they do their tradition. They're clapping and bowing. It's epic. It's good viewing. So get on there, get on the socials, get on YouTube, whatever you need to do, and watch that, because it's a good fun, and it certainly goes to show how precious this southern bluefin tuna fishery is of ours, because they're worth a lot of money.
They certainly are, Diz. I'll tell you what else is worth a lot of money. NBA free agent Ben Simmons. He made a lot of money playing basketball. Can't get a game at the moment. Can't get on a team. What's he doing instead? And I can see you're looking at me like, how does this relate to fishing, mate? We're not an NBA podcast. I get that, Diz. What's he doing with his free time when he can't get a contract?
I don't know.
He bought a fishing club.
Oh, well, that's a no-brainer.
He is the new controlling operator of the South Florida Sales in the SportFishing Championship, which is a competition that was founded in 2021. It's a professional offshore saltwater fishing league with tournaments featuring pro anglers. There's 16 pro angling clubs. They compete in 16 tournaments across America. And there are some other, your mate Scotty Scheffler, the golfer.
Oh, Scheffler.
He's another owner. They buy these fishing clubs and compete.
Wow.
He said, the way I see it, it's like the new F1 for fishing, the new Live Golf for fishing.
Wow.
So you reckon we can get a gig on Ben Simmons' team?
Well, I reckon Ben should shoot a little invitation across to the winner of the Port Lincoln Tuna Cup.
Yes, that'll be us.
And get him across there as a bit of a wild card.
So it's a point scored system. So you're fishing for white marlin, blue marlin, sailfish, striped marlin, etc. There are all different point system for each round. So it sounds really cool, Diz, and
dare I say it, they'd be using some pretty epic boats over there, especially if there's NBA players and some really well-off US stars getting amongst it. So it would be a good comp to be a part of, right?
Yeah, so he's not fishing. I think he is a keen fisher, but he's not a professional fisherman. He does have a 53 Scout. Google that. It's expensive.
Yeah, okay.
He does have a good boat. I went down a bit of a Ben Simmons fishing rabbit hole one day, and he does have a nice boat.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Roddy, as I said at the top, it was a juicy news segment. We had a fair bit to cover off, and we've got some really great stuff to come. So let's wrap that one up, and let's get stuck into the tackle item of the week.
Now it's time for Rhodey and Diz to really show you what it means to have all the gear with a lot of idea as they review a tackle item of the week.
Righto, Rhodey, what do you got for us?
All right, Dizzy, some weeks we have fancy lures, expensive fishing rods. We have all the gadgets and gizmos. That's not this week.
No, we're going back to the humble...
It's a plastic box.
the humble plastic box.
So, Diz, this was... I have these weird brain waves. Like, my mind just ticks away at all these little ways I can make my life a little bit better. So, what did I do, Diz? I went down to Bunnings and I bought 3 of these little... They're like plastic tray boxes with little dividers that you can move and make different sizes and make different compartments. And you're thinking, great, it's basically a tackle box. What are you telling me this for? But what have I done? I've modified it, Diz. So, I've drilled holes in the bottom of it. So there's a couple of holes in each corner. There's a couple of holes in the middle. And what I'm using this for, Diz, is I'm putting our rigs in them as we're out fishing. So this one that I'm holding here has got 4 little equal compartments. And when I was out fishing the other day for some whiting down at Warina, end of the day, I sort of coiled up, made a bit of a coil of each rig, put them in each individual compartment. That stops them getting tangled on the way back. It stops them banging around on your rods. Then when you get back, you're cleaning the boat. What do? You flush them out with fresh water, holes in the bottom so it all drains out. The holes aren't big enough that your hooks and rigs get caught in them, but it makes it a really easy way to clean all your gear, keep all your gear separate on the way back in the car, whatever else. Clean them in fresh water and it drains so you're not letting them sit wet in the bottom of a bucket or whatever else, stopping them from going rusty. You get all your gear nice and clean, and it's an absolute brainwave and very cheap, Diz. What do you think? You're not looking that impressed.
I'm impressed, mate. I really am. Of course, I'm looking at a plastic box. So, you know, you're not going to see...
It's a plastic box with holes drilled in the bottom.
You're not going to see my eyes light up like I would, the latest and greatest from Shimano, but I can see the practical elements of this that are really going to make fishing easier.
I'm all about the little simple practical tips for the listeners.
Very good. It'd be great to get the listener feedback as to whether that was better than my dry bag.
It's better than the dry bag. At least I modified this. You just got a dry bag and said, oh, here we go, I got a dry bag.
Well, I can hardly drill a hole in a dry bag, can I?
You could. I won't work that good though.
Okay, very good, Rhodey. That's a nice little news segment. Of course, as I said at the top, we've got a great guest coming up on the show, Danny Simpson, who has done a lot for the RecFish community and others. Let's get him on the phone now.
Now it's time to get our guest on the line. We'll ask them the all-important 5 questions, then chat all things fishing in SA.
All right, Rhodey, we are very lucky to be joined by an extremely experienced operator in the RecFish sector across the state and even more broadly. We are joined by Danny Simpson, self-employed rec fishing sector consultant. It is great to have you on, Danny. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, fellas. It's a real pleasure to be part of the show.
Very good. And Danny, you've recently been put on the board of RecFish, which is great, and we'll talk about that as well. But before we get into that, let's ask you our 5 questions that we ask all our guests, starting with tell us about your best fish.
I guess a good fish, but my best one, it's not my biggest, but it was the first trout I took on fly, which was up on the Lake River in 1977, and on a little yellow and black Matuka. So that was a little rainbow trout which I took, and that's still right up there as a lasting memory, I suppose.
Yeah, that's epic, mate. Brilliant. And our next question is favourite thing about fishing?
It's that sense of anticipation, isn't it? You know, you're getting prepared, you've organised it with your friends, and you're getting all the gear ready, and you're in the car going along, and I love that. And, you know, that nervous tension, and then once you're out there, you know, the laughs with your friends and family. I just think that's the best part of it all. Catching fish comes along. It's always good to catch good fish. It's always good to sort of know that all your planning's worked out. And so those things really keep me fishing, I think.
Very good, Danny. That's a common sort of answer we get on this question. So good that you're in the majority, that everyone just loves being out there, and catching a fish is a bonus.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and it has to be a bonus when you're as bad a fish.
Well, you're talking to 2 that are in the same boat, mate. So don't feel bad about it. All right, Danny, tell us about your first fishing memory or what got you into it.
I grew up out in Elizabeth in a big family. We had a lot of young kids around our neighbourhood, and probably every month all the dads would take all the kids down in St Kilda Breakwater.
Yeah.
This was sort of early 70s type stuff. And, you know, we'd fish off the breakwater, and most of the time the kids would just be running around chasing crabs and things. And but occasionally, you know, a school of mullet had come through, and we'd all steal the rods off our dads and get stuck into it. It was just a wonderful adventure. And I remember once, you know, the fathers decided a cold beer was in order, and, you know, wandered off to the pub, but just left us playing on the breakwater. And I still got this vision of, you know, wading through the channel there, and the water was crystal clear. The bottom was sand, and we were just picking up blue crabs all through the channel.
Oh.
And, yeah, yeah, hey, it's 50 years ago.
Times have changed, haven't they?
They have. But, yeah, that adventure was just, you know, that burned into my memory.
Yeah, that's epic. Mate, what's your favourite sort of fishing and why?
It sort of varies. But as I've got older, sitting on the river in a tinny with a couple of coldies and my deuce mate, bobbing for callop is just right up there. It's just a fantastic way to spend a day in a wonderful environment. There's nothing too strenuous about it. The fishing in the river at the moment is just wonderful, has been for a few years now. And so that's right up there. And then, you know, packing the four-wheel drive, heading west and driving the beaches, looking for salmon, and, you know, targeting big salmon is really probably the one I enjoy the most. So try and do that a few times a year, and yeah, that's great.
Beautiful, Danny, and both of those are good options at the moment when the local golf's not fishing at its best, so they're good ones for everyone to remember. Yeah,
indeed. They're always out there, and, you know, I just look at salmon and think this incredibly hard-fighting fish, which is in abundance on these beaches, which is incredibly just an amazing fish. I think people should take more advantage of what we've got there.
All right, Danny, now tell us your funniest fishing story, or tell us about the one that got away.
Okay. I've got a lot of funny ones because I've got a reputation for getting bogged on pretty much every beach in South Australia and beyond. But one that stands out is from maybe back in the early 80s when a bunch of us went to York Peninsula in winter. I think we were at Kemp's Beach there. And, you know, as usual, when you're young, you're going to sleep in the car and all this business. And it started pissing down with rain, and one of the blokes thought, I want to be comfortable, so I'll leave the door open and have a tarp over my legs. And we're just saying, yeah, whatever. But the rain was terrible. The terrible thing was it was in the middle of a mouse plague, and all the mice ran up his tarp into the car. So we spent the night damp and just having mice crawling all over it all through the night. It was just absolutely horrendous, but it's very funny to reflect on.
Very good. Regretting that decision in the morning, no doubt. No, all good. Well, thanks for answering those questions, Danny. Now we're going to get into a bit of your background. So you've had 35 years of experience in consulting. You've had your own business for the last 12 years. Much of that has been rec fishing in South Australia and across Australia. Tell us a bit about your background and how you got into this career and all that.
Well, my obvious love for fishing drove me towards the career, but, I'm I'm a strong conservationist as well, and so I went to university to study a course which sort of focused on conservation of our natural resources, and from there gained employment on the River Murray as a wetlands ecologist. So spent a few years on the River Murray doing that type of work, and took a really great interest in the fisheries resources up there, and moved to SA Water, managing the reservoir reserves, and which had its benefits, of course, and then took on the role of recreational fisheries manager with PIRSA Fisheries and Aquaculture. So I guess it's through training and a bit of drive to be involved in the sector and taking advantage of a few opportunities that came my way that I got there. And then, from there, sort of, into the private sector doing consulting. That was pretty challenging. It was, an international consulting company, 7,000 employees. And at the end of the day, decided I'd probably be better off going my own way. So, as you say, for the last 12 or 13 years, I've been doing my own thing and, choosing which jobs are the good ones and saying no to the others, and trying to focus in on recreational fisheries management and development, and it's been a real fantastic experience.
Very good. I'm just having a look at all the different things you've worked on. A lot of freshwater stuff, but a little bit of everything. Can you tell us any of the particular sort of projects you've worked on in those past 12 years that either you really loved or you're particularly proud of, or something that you want to talk about?
Yeah, well, just going back about 10 years, when I was with RecFish previously, we had a team of people, including Ian Fitzgerald and Mike Serp, who got together, and David Travel, I should say, we got together and developed the reservoir fisheries in South Australia. Ian Fitzgerald in particular was a dog on the bone with respect to trying to get them open, and eventually did. And from that, we developed the fishery and undertook the first stocking of native fish in these reservoirs. And I think, I'm extremely proud of that. And extremely proud of the people that I worked with. And we received National Award for the Best Recreational Fishing Project in 2019 at the National Conference. And I think the benefits that program has delivered to South Australian recreational fishers and even visitors is immense. And, I see pictures of people like yourselves, taking advantage of these reservoir fisheries. And isn't it great that people can actually fulfill their dream of catching a Murray Cod?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Some of these kids that's almost the first fish they catch. They go down to Happy Valley or something like that and catch a big cod, and they probably don't know how good they've got it because of some of that work.
Yeah, it's just wonderful, and it's great to see the smiles on their faces. And I suppose some other projects. Myself and my colleague Carl Mathers got the approvals to stock fish into Rocklands Reservoir in Victoria, which was formerly just a redfin fishery and is now perhaps the best freshwater fishery in all of Victoria. That happened in 2015, and also managed to get access to some water supply reservoirs in Victoria, Malmesbury, etc., which have again turned into wonderful recreational fisheries. So a few things there which I'm happy to have been involved in.
Yeah, that's epic. And I'm sure along the journey, like you mentioned earlier, you've managed to crack the code on how to find these fish in the reservoirs. Do you treat yourself to go back to some of these and have a good day's fishing, or is it sort of job done, let everyone else have the fun?
I would love to go back and fish them harder, but, I don't like walking as far as I used to, and I don't have a canoe. I don't really sort of think my back's getting a bit, old for a canoe, so I'm happy just to see others enjoy them. My mate Chamo and I sometimes have a bit of a fish, but that's more of a yarn rather than a fish and a laugh. And occasionally I'll pop out and see if there's anything happening. But generally, knowing that they're functioning well and that people are enjoying them is what's good for me.
Beautiful. Now, Danny, we wanted to ask, you've recently got back on the board at RecFish SA, and you've had some involvement in the past with them as well. Can you tell us a bit about that? What sort of drove you to get back a bit more formally involved, and what are you hoping to achieve with that position on the board?
Yeah, I guess I've been contemplating it for a while, and now that sort of, getting to a stage where I've got more time, I thought, well, here's an opportunity to make more of a contribution. And it was driven a lot by what I considered to be some immense opportunities coming up for recreational fishing in South Australia. I think the current board and those that have preceded them over the last 10 or so years have done an incredibly good job in raising the profile of recreational fishing and working with government to implement programs or policy which supports recreational fishing. And, I think that's paving the way for something that's really going to be quite profound. So I expect in the next few years we'll see some really, what would I say, big things. I'll use your term, epic things, which are going to mean a profound difference for recreational fishing in this state. And I can only point to what's happening elsewhere in Australia about how governments have now recognised the benefits of recreational fishing from an ecological, economic and social perspective. And it's taken a long time and a lot of pain to get there, but I think now government is ready to do it in South Australia. And I think we've already seen that in the last 4 years, government are prepared to support the rec fishing sector.
Danny, you've talked a bit about the other states and now you're getting more involved here in SA. Can you tell us about how you feel the state is going as a fishery? Obviously, the snapper ban's been really sad and all that. The algae hasn't helped, but there has been some really good things going on behind the scenes in the freshwater scene and lots of other great things going on. And maybe we're just a little bit behind some of those other states, but we seem to be catching up, in our opinion. What would you say of that?
Well, I would certainly agree with that. I think that we do some things quite well. The reservoir stuff is one of them, but we are a long way behind in many other aspects. I think that, the support that governments give their peak bodies in some of the other states is immense, and they trust their peak bodies to deliver services on behalf of the recreational sector. Yet we've never been able to get that breakthrough with PIRSA in South Australia, and I think that's a real shame. And I just think that there are opportunities to work collaboratively for the benefit of everyone, and it just takes a little bit more broadening of the vision to achieve that. Some of the initiatives that have occurred lately also, like the removal of the netting inside the Great Barrier Reef along the Queensland coast, the preferential management of barramundi in Northern Territory for recreational fishing, and the recent announcements in Western Australia that after a 2-year closure, 100% of the allocation of demersal fish stocks will go to recreational fishing in the metropolitan region is immense. And I think it's the type of progressive management that South Australia has never been able to come to terms with, but it will need to, because we are facing the same challenges.
Yeah, that's a great insight, and hopefully we can see some of those things come to fruition over the coming years. Now, mate, you've told us about your role as the recreational fishing representative on the Marine Scale Fishery Committee. Can you tell the listeners a bit about that committee and some of the work that you've been, ploughing through on that committee of recent times?
Sure. So the Marine Scale Fishery Management Advisory Committee, and I'll just call it the MAC from now on, is the preeminent advisory committee or community advisory committee to the Minister for Fisheries. And the way it works is that issues of particular importance are referred to the MAC and debated, and then advice developed to the Minister. Now, there's 2 recreational representatives on that, and then there's 2 commercial fishers, plus various scientists, managers, etc. I think the thing to realise also is the MAC is for the commercial fishery. There is no MAC for the recreational sector, but it is such an important fishery, and with such a huge recreational component, that it's absolutely necessary that we're on the committee. So some of the things that we've been working on over the last 3 years since I've been on board are, the setting of quotas for marine scale species and a transition to a new way of managing through the development and implementation of harvest strategies, which are essentially rules-based plans to manage your fishery, and also the development of the commercial marine scale fishery management plan. They've taken a huge amount of time to get through. But perhaps the one of most interest to RecFishers is the snapper recovery plan. So throughout that period, we've been looking at the data that's been collected and have been working to try and arrive at a position which will see the snapper fishery opened at the right time. And it's been an incredibly, exciting thing to be involved in. But, the most critical thing is ensuring that snapper stocks are able to withstand fishing pressure when we reopen. And I guess one of the things that I say to people when asked about this, when people say to me, there's a lot of small snapper out there, they're in plague proportions, et cetera, it should reopen. I ask, what is their expectation of the snapper fishery? What do they want from it? And they always say we want it to be the way it was before, with the big snapper, Whyalla going off, et cetera, et cetera. And I always say back to them, that takes a very long time. And if you open the fishery when there's lots of small fish around, you will never get there, because you'll just instantly have a massive impact on these smaller fish. So it's a very complex issue, and not everyone agrees. And, I don't have it right all the time, of course, but I think it's very important that all of those perspectives are considered. And, I just re-emphasise that nearly everyone I speak to says we want it to be the way it was before the long line, as they always say.
Yeah, fair enough. It's a tough position, Danny. Is it? Is it a challenge? I suppose the knock on Purser and a lot of these government agencies has always been, like from a rec fishing perspective, has always been that they listen to the commercials and rec fishing doesn't really get as much of a say. Do you find that as a challenge being on this commercial committee?
An immense challenge. I think it's for me it is the primary challenge, and it still happens. I'm happy to say that it is changing slowly, but your comment about the commercial fishers having a greater influence, I think holds very true and has done for a very long time. And so, having our voice heard and respected more so is something that I always aim to achieve in these meetings. And it's not easy to do because it's such a passionate environment where people can lose sensibility very quickly or rationality very quickly, that you then lose effect, and it then becomes counterproductive. So I'm no great expert in diplomacy, but I hope that I'm getting the message across.
Excellent. And thank you, Danny, for making, the rec fishing voice heard. It's really, I'm sure, appreciated but, to a large degree, I'm sure at times goes unnoticed with a lot of your work happening in the background. So thank you very much for that, mate. We also, to your point about speaking to a lot of fishers and being well and truly in touch with the rec fishing sector, I'm sure you get a great opportunity to speak to a lot of die-hard, passionate rec fishing people at SportFishing Scene, one of the greatest tackle shops in the state. Mate, tell us about your role there, and how you've enjoyed it over the time.
Well, I actually did a stint there 25 years ago when George Apad owned the shop. I went on some extended leave, and I said to George, got a gig? And he said, yeah. And I absolutely loved it. And it was just so good interacting with fishers and all the lads behind the counter, etc. And that's where I got to know Ian Clift, or Clifty as we call him, or the Colonel, or whatever you want to call him. And in recent times, about 4 years ago, I said to Clifty, hey, you got anything going? Because I work from home. I'm sort of home all day, every day, and I just need to get out. And, what would be better than to actually get out and talk to fishers all the time? And he said, happy for you to come along. So he put me on Sundays, and I worked all day long with the magnificent young Tommy Tyzenko, who a lot of you would know. Yep. He's been on the program before. And he was only 17, I think, at the time. And I've got to say, we bonded instantly, and we had so much fun at the SportFishing Scene. We sort of developed our little videos, Sundays at the Scene, which got a bit of a following and a little bit crazy, but they were a lot of fun. And, just the opportunity to just meet a lot of people, talk fishing with a lot of people, or footy or whatever with a lot of people. It was just great. And, I used to say to Clifty, you don't have to pay me, I just enjoy this. But he's a very generous man, Clifty, so he continued to pay me. So it's a great place to keep in touch with what's going on the ground at the grassroots. And if you don't have that, you can't really represent correctly.
Very good. It's certainly a great operation Clifty runs there. We love going in there and stocking up, and it's good talking to people such as Clifty, Tommy, yourself. It's a really great crew down there all the time.
Sure is.
Now, Danny, before we leave, you want to know what's on the agenda at the moment. So you've been, in recent years, the National Program Coordinator for Rec Fishing Research. You've also done a lot of work in trout and Murray Cod over in New South Wales. Are those two programs continuing this year? Is that what you're working on, or what's on the agenda for 2026 now we've ticked over into the new year?
Yeah, so we're just in the final throes of signing off the funding application for the next phase of rec fishing research. So rec fishing research is run by the Australian Recreational Fishing Foundation, or ARF, and they're the national peak body for recreational fishing. And what it is members from all states, and RecFish SA is a member, peak bodies get together, and we have developed a strategic plan for recreational research, development, and extension programs, and we submitted that to the government a year and a half ago, and it's been received with a great degree of excitement. So that program finished last month, and the funding for the new program is just about to be signed off, and that will be for another 3 years. So really looking forward to that, and looking forward to seeing some research produced, which is going to mean profound change for recreational sector. And some of that stuff we're looking at is, we're not just talking about the biology of fish, we're talking about investigating new ways of managing resources which involve collaboration with recreational fishers. So some of these things are groundbreaking and will be challenging for many governments across Australia, but we see them as critical to ensuring that stocks are sustained and we don't have things like snapper crashes, and ensuring that stocks are managed better for recreational fishing purposes. So that's a really big and exciting program, and everyone should sort of have a look at what's going on there. And I guess over the last few years, myself and my colleague from the Wedge Group, Carl Mathers, have developed management strategies, or recreational fishing management strategies, for Murray Cod and trout in New South Wales. And they talked about a new way of managing these stocks for recreational fishing specifically. And New South Wales Government is currently just finalising their arrangements for implementing that plan, and looking forward to being involved in that as well. So, and there's various other things going on, and a couple of things happening locally which I'm sure we're going to hear about very soon, which will be very exciting for rec fishing.
Well, that is a very juicy one to leave us with, Danny. We've covered a lot of ground, mate. We cannot wait to see what 2026 and beyond brings. Thank you for all your advocacy and work you do behind the scenes, mate. And it's been wonderful to have a chat with you on the show. Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure, guys, and it's a great show that you have there. Keep up the great work. You're doing wonderful things for our sector.
Thanks, Danny.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Great to hear from Danny Diz. That was very informative. He has just about done it all in rec fishing across Australia and South Australia.
Yeah, good call. As I said, we covered a lot of ground. It was great to have a chat with Danny. Certainly some real highlights out of the 5 questions, and no doubt a lot of highlights in his career as well. It was great to have him on the show.
I think he'll be a real asset to the board of RecFish as well, Diz, with all his experience consulting on all these different things around Australia. He's got a vast experience, Diz.
Yep, completely agree. And coming back to it as well, like he said, when he's got a bit more time, I'm sure that'll be wonderful contributions to RecFish on the board there as well. All right, Rody, let's get stuck into the fishing report.
Rody and Diz have been out on the water to bring you the news about where they're biting. Now it's time for the fishing report.
Righto, Rody, you were down on the Flurio. Tell us what's biting down there.
I'll tell you what's not biting. That's tuna, mate. Didn't see any, didn't hear any. We did do a bit of a loop out off Warina for a little bit of a half-hearted look, but, when you're taking a 3.5-year-old fishing, you're not going tuna hunting for too many hours, are you?
You're not.
But no one else seemed to catch anything either off Victor or, Warina or Cape Jarvis or even off York Peninsula. I saw a few. I saw Goody went out to, Kristen Goodchild went out to Wedge and didn't see any. So that's sort of heading out that sort of Lincoln direction.
Yeah.
We know they're getting good catches off the Eyre Peninsula, but it seems like they aren't really venturing this direction just yet.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, we'll have to watch that one closely over the coming weeks. Maybe as the water warms up a little bit, that might bring the bait fish. That might bring the tuna. Did you see any bait while you were at Flurio or not?
No, didn't.
Disappointing.
Not much to say.
Anyway, what about the whiting? They biting hard?
They bit pretty hard, Diz. As I say, it was really a family kids sort of mission. You know, any catch was a bonus. But the whiting bit pretty hard. What was disappointing was they were all undersized, apart from one on each day. So we only came home with one keeper. But the first day we probably got 7 or 8 undersized whiting, and they were all, you had to measure them all.
Yeah.
Oh, there were a couple of tiny ones, but you had to measure a lot. There were 30, 31.
Yeah.
And then I reckon we went out 2 days later and we got about 4 or 5 whiting, got a couple of trevally, but yeah, most of the whiting were undersized again.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And was that similar on York's, Diz? I think you said you got some small ones too.
Yeah, we did. We managed to get, I think we had about 8 in the end, but we would have caught, I'd say, close to, 25 while we were out there, and a lot of them smaller than that. A lot of them you just didn't even need to measure them.
Yeah,
They came over and you knew, and then it was sort of a few plucked in between that measured sort of 33, 34 just size.
Yeah,
there were no really big ones, but it was good to see a lot of small fish. I'm hoping that that's really good signs that the fishing is recovering from, this brief stint of the algal bloom. And Simon Green's done very well for himself. They've caught a lot of fish over there.
Tumby Bay and the Sir Joseph Banks group, they got the bag 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
So no size issues over there.
No, and they would have been eating fish for days, having a great time, stocking up the freezer. They would have been having a wonderful time.
And his young fella Eddie got a gummy shark, which he was pumped about.
And onto his first bluefin.
And they got, I think that was at Scales Bay.
That was at Scales, it was.
So they've done it all on that trip, Diz.
That's right. And then I think I saw on Richard's Facebook page, he's gone out there, going to chase some Makos. So they've done it all. They've had a great time.
They certainly has. Now, Diz, talk to me about the crabs.
Oh,
you got them at great point. Did you get heaps of them?
They're firing. They were easy. They were easy to get.
And Ned's still loving his crabbing. He was a real crabbing enthusiast.
Took Andrew came out on the boat, brother Andrew, and his son Ollie came out. Ollie was equally loving it. He wasn't all that keen to hold one while they were, live and going a bit crazy, but we warmed him up where he was sort of touching the shells in the end, which was good. And, it was really easy, mate. Tide coming in. 3 drop nets on the go, running around to them. Happy days.
And elsewhere on York's firing too for crabs?
Yeah, I've heard they're really good numbers all over the place, mate. And they were healthy, really lovely, dark blue, lively looking things.
And you've got this weird sort of allergy that you developed later in life. Is any of the younger generation developing this?
No,
weird?
they all ate them.
They were fine?
We gave some to Matilda and Ned, and they both happily ate them. And I'm pleased to report that they're still happily not allergic to crabs at this point.
I'm glad. I shouldn't make fun of your medical issues, should I?
So, very good stuff. We've talked a little bit about a lot of snapper plague proportions as people are reporting in some respects around their whiting grounds and others. So that's just one to note in the fishing report, and sharks as well.
Lots of good bronze whalers getting caught all across the state. Plenty of gummy sharks. I saw a couple of hammerheads, and seriously, keyboard warriors. Someone I don't have any. I think it was Port Hughes. I saw it's one of those photos that someone shares that goes a bit viral for all the wrong reasons. Someone caught a hammerhead well within their rights, took it home, had a picture, happy with their catch. They were going to feed the family with some shark fillets, and people just whacked into this poor bloke saying, "What are you doing killing that?" Well, it's legal and it's dinner. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with taking home a bronzy or a gummy shark or a hammerhead, well within the rules. He knew what the bag and boat limit were and was doing absolutely nothing wrong.
We've never caught a hammerhead, I don't think. Well, I certainly haven't anyway, but I've seen one and I've heard that they're actually really good. Yeah. Really good to eat.
Yeah, I think we should do more sort of gummy shark, bronzies, try and get some more flake for dinner. I think it's a great thing to do.
Yeah, good call. Rody Crayfish, you've been out diving, got a few for the Christmas festive season. What about any word about crays anywhere else?
No, I haven't been out for a little while, but I have heard lots and lots of people getting crays. I was actually watching another video on social media of someone getting quite a few drop netting. Oh. And that would be cool to do as well.
Yeah, surely that'd be hard.
You'd have to get some good spots, I reckon, maybe down the southeast or Yorks. But anyway, lots of getting them in pots, lots of getting them Victor, bottom end of Yorks. Port Lincoln Way over on the Eyre Peninsula. Plenty of crayfish seeming to get about, and it's a great time of year to get into them.
Pez used to talk a bit about drop netting for him, didn't he?
He did, actually. He used to go to...
Oh, was it Roadway?
Nah, was it... I think Carpenter's Rocks or Port MacDonald down there, sort of Mount Gambier way.
Yeah, okay.
I think it was Carpenter's Rocks he used to do it.
There you go. Very good. All right, nice little fishing report there for the listeners, Rhodey. Let's wrap this one up, mate. Of course, we've said it enough times. People know where to find us. You're getting us on all your social channels, anywhere where you download podcasts. What we really want from you is to send in your New Year's resolution. Tell us what you're hoping to catch, what you're going to do, a trip you've been thinking about, whatever it is. Tell us what your New Year's resolution and goal is on the fishing front. That'd be great to hear from you.
Very good, and a big thanks to Danny Simpson for a very informative chat, and thanks, guys, for listening.
See you guys.
Rhodey and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.